Alright, I want to try to get everything I can into this video. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze everything in the time that I have, but I'm going to certainly go for it. And in order to understand what's going on in the Middle East and what it has to do with politics and everything, we have to look at the context of where this all started. And for that, I want to read you a story out of Genesis chapter 16. And I'm going to read it right off my screen here, so forgive me for looking down. But basically what you have is a story of Abraham, okay, Father Abraham, and he wanted to have a child. And what was happening was that Sarah, his wife, wasn't able to get pregnant. So Sarah had disobeyed God instead of waiting on him and said, go have sex with my maidservant Hagar, who was an Egyptian, and have a child with her. And so, of course, Abraham, disobeying God, which is not always a good thing to do, went ahead and went into Hagar and basically got her pregnant, and they had a baby, and that was Ishmael. And Ishmael is one of the forefathers and the main prophets of the Islam-Muslim religion. Okay. In Genesis it says, the angel of the Lord also said to her, you are now with child, you will have a son, you shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery. Now it's interesting because the next verse in chapter 12 says, Ishmael will be a wild donkey of a man, his hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand will be against him. He will live in hostility and war with all of his brothers. Okay, so you got this picture that Ishmael is going to be somebody who is at war with all his neighbors. Now, as you see, Islam is at the forefront of a lot of the wars that are going on today. This extreme Islam, Muslim, radical stuff. Okay, now that's the story with that. Now, if you go to, I went to Wikipedia and just to look up a little bit on Ishmael, and it just kind of verifies what we were just reading. Basically, it says that Ishmael, I'm going to try to break this down a little bit. So let's see. Well, it says Jewish, Christian, and Muslim believers regard Ishmael as Abraham's eldest son, born of his wife Sarah's handmaiden or her servant. Now, here's what's interesting. It says, both Jewish and Islamic traditions consider Ishmael as the ancestor of the northern Arab people, okay? And as you know, Muslims are Arabs, okay? Judaism has generally viewed Ishmael as wicked, though repentant. Judaism maintains that Isaac, which is the father of the Jewish people, rather than Ishmael, was the true heir of Abraham. That's what comes down to what's going on with the Gaza Strip. This is all about land. Now Abraham, after 13 years of silence from God because of what he had done wrong by disobeying God and listening to his wife and having the child, Ishmael, what ended up happening was Abraham ended up having a son eventually, and that was Isaac. And through the line of Isaac, you can follow that through the generations, and you will come down to Jesus. Okay, so you basically have Christianity and the Jewish people against Ishmael and the Muslim people. That's kind of the setup that's been from the very beginning. Now, the Muslim people believe that Ishmael was the true heir of Abraham, so therefore Ishmael and the Muslim people, Islam, should have all of the property, including where Israel is at. Judaism and Christianity says, no, it was Abraham, that's why they want the property. So there's always been a fight about land and who is the rightful heir of everything. Okay? Interesting to note that Isaac was born in wedlock. He was born within the rules of the Bible and the Old Testament. Ishmael was not. Ishmael was born out of a deception and out of a direct disobedience to God, and therefore you have Islam as this angry, not all Muslims, but this element of it you can see that's coming out now is against the Jews and against Christians. Okay, so you have this war going on. The Gaza Strip is all about that. Now, interesting about the Gaza Strip is a lot of people don't realize the Gaza Strip is a part of Israel. So this war going on right now is Israel basically bombing its own land. Okay, Palestine is not an actual recognized sovereign territory by anybody. The Palestinians are refugees made up from all different countries around them. In fact, Egypt and other places won't even take these Palestinians. So what they've done is they're forcing these Palestinians to live in Israel, okay, and occupy this Gaza Strip. Okay, which is only about 4.5 miles wide. It's not a very big area, and there's 1.5 million Muslims living there. These people obviously hate Israel, and they're taught to hate Israel from the time that they're very little, because they look at it as the Jews in Israel taking all of their land and taking everything that belongs to them, which is not the case. Anybody who's a scholar of the Bible can read in the Old Testament, and they can read through it, that the land was given to Abraham as the rightful heir Okay, I'm sorry, given to Isaac as the rightful heir of Abraham. Okay, so this all comes down to a fight. Gaza is not an actual Palestinian-owned place. Palestine is not an actual place. Okay, and as far as a disproportionate response, you know what? When you have Hamas, which is a terrorist organization funded by Iran, everybody knows it, the world recognizes it. When they're just shooting rockets, boom, 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 into several places, you're not going to kill as many people. And Israel's been so used to this now. They've been living with this for years, ever since 2006 war with Lebanon. There's been a ceasefire, that's put in place for the last 6 months. Hamas broke that ceasefire by launching rockets at Israel. Now Israel's responding. Obviously, Israel has a larger military, you know what I mean? And Hamas hides weapons in mosques. They hide their terrorists among the civilian people. Of course there's going to be higher casualties when it comes to Hamas getting hit, because look how they're playing the game. It's what Saddam Hussein did before the Iraq War. When the inspectors were trying to come in and when the airstrikes were threatening to start from America, he started using civilians and putting them outside these different sites. So if we hit them, we would have killed civilians and we look bad. That's the ancient game. Now, that's just an overview of basically what's going on. I think Israel's in the right. Israel's got to beat the crap out of Hamas. They've got to not stop until they destroy Hamas. As far as I'm concerned, go into the Gaza Strip, retake it. Okay? And these Palestinians need to go back to where they came from. Get out of Israel. Get out of the land of Israel. Other Muslim nations need to take these people in. Okay? The Jewish land, that's all they got. They got 22 Arab neighbors surrounding them. Israel's got this little slice of land the size of New Jersey. There's no reason why the Jewish people can't have that. But Islam wants to not stop until the Jews have nothing left. Islam wants everything because they believe that that's what is owed to them. Over in Russia and the fighting going on, the Chechen rebels, all that stuff, it's Islam. If you look down in Africa and you look at the warlords that are killing, slaughtering millions down there, it's Islam fighting to take over that land. You look at Iran, okay, the radical regime over there, Islam. You look at people that are fighting Israel, it's Islam. Okay, Saddam Hussein subscribed to Islam. You know, I'm not saying that all Muslims are bad people. Don't send me messages going, oh, you're a hate monger. That's not what this is about. What I'm talking about, because there are a lot of peace-loving Muslims, but no matter who you ask, Muslims, the Muslim religion and the Jewish religion and the Christian religion, because they're pretty much wrapped up in the same here, are against each other. Okay, and if you look at the majority of it outside of the years and years ago with the Crusades, these days it's not Christianity or the Jews that are starting trouble. I want somebody to do history, someone to do research. Just look, do some research and find out that Israel is trying to live in peace. And it's always, look what happened in 2006 with the war with Lebanon and Hezbollah, terrorist organization. Who started that? That was Hezbollah. Decided to kidnap a couple Israeli soldiers away from the border. That started that whole war. And then that stopped. And it's always Israel that's being condemned by the international community. Oh, Israel's being too bad. Israel's being too rough. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. If you're sitting in your home and somebody starts lobbing missiles into your house, I bet you're going to turn around and use everything you got, and you're going to go and destroy them. You're not going to start to destroy them and then go, okay, let's have a little peace treaty so that the other person can rearm and do it some more. It's not going to happen. You're going to fight until you can win, and you're going to get your land back and get your territory and keep, your family, or Israel's sake, their people safe. Okay? Anyway, check this little 1.5-minute clip out. It's going to blow your mind, and then the video will end there. Thanks for watching. I welcome your comments, and may God continue to bless America.
I would summarize the struggle today between radical Islam and the West with the phrase from a Jordanian schoolbook and also Palestinian schoolbook. And the teaching in the Islamic education is this religion will destroy all other religions through the Islamic Jihad fighters. It's Islam against the other religions. It shows how mainstream some of these concepts which are seen as radical Islam have become or are in the mainstream Arab world today.
برافو برافو برافو
اسمك ايه؟
سمعت.
بسملة، عندك كام سنة؟
3 سنين ونص.
انت مسلمة؟ بسملة، انت تعرفي اليهود؟ بتحبيهم؟ لا ما بتحبيهمش ليه؟
كده.
عشان هم ايه؟
يوم قردة وخنازير.
عشان هم قردة وخنازير؟ مين قال عليهم كده؟
ربنا.
قال عليهم فين؟
القرآن.
قال عليهم في القرآن كده صح.